Let's be honest, the term Metroidvania gets thrown around more than a controller during a boss fight. It's a huge genre, but finding the truly essential must-play titles that define that blend of exploration, tight combat, and satisfying progression, that's the real quest. You know that moment when a game just clicks and you can feel the map and your character growing together? We've scoured the depths, climbed the highest towers, and found 19 games that perfectly encapsulate the genre's magic, offering experiences you absolutely cannot miss. Get ready to update your backlog. These are the Metroidvanias every gamer should play at least once. You simply cannot talk about the modern evolution of the Metroidvania genre without starting right here. Hollow Knight isn't just a game. It's a vast, beautifully desolate world called Hallownest, begging to be lost in. The sheer scale of the map, designed by Team Cherry, is immediately intimidating, but that's where the value is. Every new area, from the fungal wastes to the crystal peaks, feels like a monumental discovery, rewarded by a crucial new ability, a powerful charm, or an upgrade to your trusty nail. It's a masterclass in interconnected level design that prioritizes player autonomy. The atmosphere is where this game truly excels, marrying a gorgeous, hand-drawn aesthetic with a deeply melancholic orchestral score. The lore isn't handed to you on a silver platter. It's subtle, scattered, and often requires talking to the wonderfully strange, tragic, and charming NPCs you encounter. This commitment to building a deeply mysterious history through implication keeps you theorizing long after you've put the controller down. And here's where it gets interesting. The quality-to-content ratio is arguably the highest on this list, offering an enormous base game plus several completely free massive content packs. But let's not forget the combat. It's tight, demanding, and deceptively simple. Mastering the pogo jump and the strategic use of your complex system of charms transforms battles from frantic button mashing into rhythmic, intense duels. The boss fights in particular are legendary. Each one is a brutal but fair dance that demands precision and patience. Hollow Knight is not just a high-value experience. It's arguably the definitive modern statement on what a 2D action-adventure game can be, making every hard-earned victory feel entirely deserved. Have you ever played a sequel that fundamentally changes how you approach an entire world? Silksong is that game, taking the brilliance of Hallownest and flipping the script by focusing entirely on verticality and speed. Shifting from the stoic knight to the nimble, expressive hornet immediately changes the dynamics. She's faster, far more aerial, and her movement and combat are built around her thread-based silk abilities, allowing for high-speed evasion and aggressive counterattacks built on pure fluidity. This is not just Hollow Knight with a new skin, it's a total reimagining of movement within the genre. If the first game was defined by descending into the dark, claustrophobic isolation of Hallownest, this title is all about ascending, traversing the vibrant, towering kingdom of Farloom. The new biomes are visually stunning and complex, built specifically for Hornet's unique aerial traversal, including the ability to cling to and climb ledges. The core combat mechanics demand mastery of the combo system. The fighting style is fast-paced and aggressive, making every encounter feel like a fluid, high-stakes dance. And here's where it gets interesting. The new tool system replaces the charms, offering reusable gadgets for combat and utility, adding a fresh and deep layer of strategic choice to your build. The quality and density of content are exactly what you expect from Team Cherry, offering massive value for money. The world is filled with over 150 new foes, and the boss encounters are complex, multi-stage affairs that test the absolute limit of your skill and precision. Furthermore, the introduction of a more structured quest system ties deeper into the lore and progression of Farloom, encouraging interaction with a cast of new, memorable characters. Silksong successfully builds upon its legendary predecessor, offering a masterclass in challenging, rewarding action and vertical exploration that immediately sets the new gold standard for the entire genre. Stepping into the world of Ori and the Blind Forest is like playing a stunningly animated film, and it immediately hits you with one of the most emotional opening sequences in gaming history. This sets a tone that is simultaneously beautiful and heartbreaking. But don't let the gorgeous visuals fool you. Beneath the charming exterior is a surprisingly demanding and complex platformer that will push your dexterity to the absolute limit. It manages the brilliant trick of being profoundly moving while simultaneously being brutally challenging. The core gameplay loop is centered on fluid, expert movement, and it's arguably the smoothest platformer on this list. Forget just running and jumping. Ori introduces abilities like Bash, which allows you to launch yourself off of enemies or projectiles, redirecting them in a dizzying ballet of motion. This mechanic is a true game changer, turning simple platforming into high-speed, puzzle-like challenges where timing and trajectory are everything. It feels incredibly good when you finally nail a complicated sequence, chaining multiple abilities together to cross a huge gap. You know that moment when a chase sequence suddenly spikes the intensity? Blind Forest is famous for its escape sequences, moments where the entire world begins to collapse, forcing you to use every single ability you've learned in a frantic, exhilarating dash for survival. These sequences are cinematic highlights of the game, proving that a visually gentle game can pack a powerful, adrenaline-fueled punch. Ori is a testament to the power of combining tight controls with unforgettable artistry and a deeply resonant narrative, making it an essential, high-value experience. If Hollow Knight is the heir to Symphony of the Night, then Axiom Verge 2 is the direct, spiritual successor to the original isolation-heavy Metroid. Developed almost entirely by one person, Thomas Happ, this is a game that focuses on pure, classic exploration in a way that feels deliberately retro yet refreshingly modern. Set in a parallel Earth known as the Land of Anuna, the game's atmosphere is one of technological decay and ancient mystery, giving it a unique sci-fi flavor. The big twist here is the introduction of two worlds: the Overworld, which feels like a classic Metroidvania map, and the Breach, a cryptic, low-resolution dimension you can access through portals. The Breach completely changes the flow, often requiring you to use a small, remote-controlled drone to navigate small passages in one world that correspond to blocked paths in the other. This dual-world mechanic allows you to bypass areas and see the map from a whole new perspective, giving exploration an added layer of satisfying non-linear puzzle solving. The genius is in how the two maps constantly communicate and affect one another. The combat is much more focused on hacking, drones, and melee compared to the gun-heavy first game, centered around a devastating ice axe. The emphasis on subtle manipulation and world-bending mechanics rather than brute force is what makes Axiom Verge 2 stand out. The game's dedication to non-linearity means you can find the major movement upgrades in multiple different orders, catering to vastly different playstyles. It's a love letter to the 8-bit aesthetic that intelligently expands on its core concepts, rewarding players who truly enjoy getting lost and figuring out the map for themselves. What happens when you take the demanding, rhythmic combat of a Souls-like game, the exploration of a Metroidvania, and fuse it with a stunningly unique aesthetic inspired by Tau Punk? You get 9 Souls, a compelling blend of genres. Developed by Red Candle Games, famous for devotion, this title is a showcase of beautiful, hand-drawn 2D art with incredibly fluid animation that makes every movement feel weighty and deliberate. The Tau Punk setting, a future infused with Taoist mythology and philosophy, is completely fresh, giving the world a look unlike anything else on this list. The combat is the star of the show, revolving almost entirely around a demanding parry and deflect system reminiscent of games like Sekiro. You're not just dodging, you're actively engaging with enemy attacks, timing a crucial deflection of a strike or projectile to stagger them for a devastating counterattack called the Dragon Strike. This creates a rhythmic, aggressive loop of defense and offense that feels incredibly satisfying to master. Simple encounters feel like duels, and boss fights become intense, choreographed dances of timing and precision, demanding full concentration. And here's a neat design choice. While the game offers the expected level of Metroidvania exploration, unlocking new movement abilities and backtracking to previously inaccessible areas, it wraps this up in a complex, lore-heavy narrative. The story follows Yi, a hero from a forgotten past, awakening to defeat the 9 oppressive rulers, the Sauls. The narrative is told through gorgeous, detailed cutscenes that keep you invested in the mysterious, stylized world. 9 Sauls is a fantastic choice for the player who wants a visually arresting, story-driven experience with combat that truly tests their reflexes. Have you ever played a game where your main mechanic is absorbing your enemies and turning their essence into your permanent strength? Grime is exactly that, offering a dark, often brutal, and entirely unique take on the Metroidvania formula, mixed with a strong dose of Souls-like difficulty. The world is a bizarre, unsettling landscape of organic and inorganic elements. Think massive, sentient statues and strange, fleshy environments. The whole aesthetic is immediately captivating, presenting a visually arresting, if somewhat unsettling, experience that feels genuinely unique. The core loop revolves around the demanding parry and absorb system. Instead of simply dodging, successfully parrying an enemy allows you to absorb their essence, instantly healing a small amount, and crucially, accumulating the mass needed to purchase a permanent trait or power-up associated with that foe. This system encourages aggressive, precise play, making every battle a high-stakes decision about when to take the risk. The passive abilities you gain fundamentally change your build and approach to combat, adding a satisfying layer of RPG progression directly tied to the enemies you conquer. The level design is dense, demanding careful and often perilous exploration. New abilities, such as the air dash or the power to climb specific surfaces, don't just grant access to new platforms. They often unlock new ways to interact with the environment and enemies, constantly shifting the dynamics of previously explored areas. The sheer variety of grotesque, magnificent, and immensely challenging boss designs makes each victory feel like a monumental achievement. Grime is a challenging, rewarding game for those who appreciate deep combat mechanics, a high level of difficulty, and a truly original dark fantasy setting. If you're looking for a Metroidvania that nails a profoundly melancholic, mournful atmosphere and features deeply satisfying, unique combat, look no further than Ender Lilies. Set in the desolate kingdom of Land's End, ravaged by a continuous downpour known as the Rain, you play as Lily, a small, fragile priestess protected by the spectral spirits of purified knights. The striking contrast between Lily's delicate appearance and the powerful spectral attacks she commands creates a powerful visual and mechanical dynamic that defines the game's identity. The entire world feels like a beautiful, slowly dying ruin, soaked in perpetual sorrow. The combat system is one of the best in the genre, offering incredible flexibility. Instead of directly attacking, Lily summons the spirits of fallen bosses and common enemies you've purified, effectively turning them into your primary weapons and defensive tools. This means your arsenal is constantly growing, allowing you to swap between fast, dual-wielding attacks, heavy-hitting slams from a hulking knight, and ranged magical barrages. Finding and purifying a new spirit immediately offers new tactical possibilities and build options, making exploration directly beneficial to your combat variety. The world design beautifully supports this haunting tone. The visuals are stunning, featuring gorgeously painted backgrounds that convey a palpable sense of decay and tragedy. Every piece of lore you uncover, often through the memory fragments of the spirits you acquire, tells a heartbreaking story of the kingdom's fall. Furthermore, the game's difficulty is impeccably balanced. It provides a challenge demanding careful dodging and resource management, but the flexibility of the spirit system ensures that you can always find a tactical approach that works for you. Ender Lilies is a triumph of mood and mechanics, offering a challenging yet deeply moving experience. Ready for a game that brilliantly trolls its own genre conventions and offers a surprise twist that few players see coming? The Messenger starts as a tight, challenging, and incredibly fun 8-bit platformer, paying homage to classics like Ninja Gaiden. You play as a young ninja on a quest to deliver a crucial scroll, navigating challenging environmental hazards with simple, satisfying controls. The standout mechanic here is the Cloud Step, a mid-air ability that refreshes your double jump after hitting an enemy or a lantern. Mastering the Cloud Step transforms traversal into a high-speed, constant flow of aerial movement. But here's the game's masterstroke. The moment where the true value of this title is revealed, about halfway through the game dramatically shifts from its original 8-bit aesthetic to vibrant 16-bit graphics and sound. Crucially, this transition isn't just cosmetic. It reveals the game's core identity as a full-blown Metroidvania. The shift introduces time travel mechanics that let you switch instantly between the past 8-bit and the future 16-bit to manipulate the environment, solve puzzles, and unlock new paths. Suddenly, the seemingly linear level you memorized becomes a sprawling, interconnected map you have to navigate across two different timelines. This ingenious genre twist is handled with genuine wit and humor, thanks to the constant meta-commentary from the witty shopkeeper, who frequently breaks the fourth wall. The combat remains sharp and responsive across both timelines, forcing you to master the Cloud Step to defeat clever enemies and challenging bosses that often require platforming precision as much as attack skill. The Messenger is a perfect example of how innovation, humor, and rock-solid platforming can create an unforgettable, high-value experience that not only respects the classics but confidently forges its own path by playfully subverting player expectations. If you want your Metroidvania steeped in dark religious iconography and brutal difficulty, Blasphemous is your necessary pilgrimage. Set in the nightmarish land of F.I.S.T, a place twisted and mutated by a bizarre divine miracle known as the Grievous Miracle, The game is a feast of gothic horror and unsettling imagery. This isn't just dark, it's aggressively beautiful in its morbidity, using stunning, detailed pixel art to depict scenes that are often genuinely disturbing, drawing heavily from Spanish Catholic folklore. Every detail contributes to a heavy, oppressive atmosphere. You play as the Penitent One, a silent, masked figure armed with the sacred yet deadly Mea Culpa sword. The combat is heavily inspired by Souls-likes, demanding precise parries, quick dodges, and careful management of your fervor magic resources used for powerful prayers. The execution animations are particularly visceral, reinforcing the game's uncompromising, brutal tone. But the real depth comes from the relics, prayers, and sword hearts you collect, which allow you to customize your abilities and defense, a crucial element for surviving the game's relentless challenge. The world design is a sprawling, interconnected map of colossal cathedrals, crumbling villages, and grotesque landscapes that perfectly exemplify the Metroidvania structure. Finding secrets often requires specific, odd actions, like equipping a certain relic or interacting with an NPC in a specific order, which makes uncovering the deeper lore and progression routes incredibly rewarding. The value here is tremendous. The sheer depth of the lore, the difficulty that ensures long playtime, and the unforgettable art direction make this title a standout. Blasphemous is for the player who appreciates an unflinching atmosphere, highly polished combat, and an uncompromising, unique aesthetic. Following the grim, punishing formula of its predecessor, Salt and Sacrifice expands the dark, 2D action RPG into a full-fledged Metroidvania experience, heavily leaning on deep character customization and unique multiplayer elements. The world of Ultros is a shattered, decaying realm, constantly under attack by massive, powerful, elemental bosses known as mages that act as the game's main, persistent threats. You take on the role of a marked inquisitor, a condemned criminal given a second chance to hunt these terrifying entities. The defining mechanic here is the mage hunt. These massive boss mages patrol and move between areas of the map, and defeating them grants you crafting materials to forge new weapons, armor, and powerful runic arts, creating a deeply satisfying progression loop similar to Monster Hunter. This heavy emphasis on character build and gear management sets it apart from typical Metroidvanias, allowing for immense freedom in how you approach the difficulty. The variety of weapon types and class specializations ensures massive replayability. And here's where it gets interesting. The game introduces optional, seamless co-op and competitive multiplayer elements that can dramatically change the flow of exploration. You can summon other players to help you tackle particularly challenging mages, or conversely utilize dark factions to invade other worlds for brutal PvP encounters. This layer of player interaction adds tremendous replayability and value, turning a solitary journey into a shared, often deadly community experience. Salt and Sacrifice offers a satisfyingly grim, deep experience for those who want a blend of punishing, stamina-based combat, extensive RPG-style customization, and a vast, interconnected map. Looking for a Metroidvania that truly delivers on artistic grandeur and sheer map scale? Afterimage is a visually stunning experience, featuring a lush, hand-drawn world that feels both expansive and profoundly alive. Developed by Oregon Shanghai, the sheer ambition of the map is incredible, offering over 15 distinct zones from crystalline forests and submerged cities to massive floating celestial structures, each rendered with an unbelievable level of detail and color. This is the kind of game that rewards exploration just for the chance to see what new visual masterpiece awaits in the next screen. The combat system is fast, flexible, and deeply customizable. You can wield a massive variety of weapons, over 10 distinct types, including greatswords, dual blades, and magical staves, allowing you to tailor your fighting style to your exact preference. The game features an extensive, non-linear talent tree that allows you to deepen your connection with your chosen weapons, unlocking new combos and powerful techniques. This depth of customization ensures that every player's journey and their combat approach feels uniquely their own, balancing quick action with a meaningful RPG-like investment. And here's a cool feature for completionists. Afterimage boasts dozens of unique enemies, complex platforming challenges, and over 10 elaborate boss fights, each requiring a different strategy based on your chosen loadout. The world is built with multiple endings and a story that unfolds through carefully hidden fragments, encouraging true commitment to exploration and following complex story threads. The core value of this game is the sheer amount of high-quality content. It's one of the largest maps in the modern genre, offering an experience that can easily cross the 40-hour mark for completionists. Who knew that a return to 2D for the Prince of Persia franchise would yield one of the most mechanically polished and high-energy Metroidvanias in years? The Lost Crown is a masterclass in tight, responsive platforming and blisteringly fast, combo-heavy combat, proving that a major franchise can still innovate within a classic genre structure. You play as Sargon, one of the elite warriors known as the Immortals, traversing the mysterious, time-bending citadel of Mount Koth. The game feels instantly satisfying, offering a level of control and precision that is arguably unmatched in the current market. The game is famous for its exceptional combat flow. It's a rhythmic, aerial mix of sword combos, perfect parries, and powerful special moves called surges that feel incredibly impactful to execute. Boss fights are intense, kinetic, and challenging affairs that demand absolute mastery over dodging and parrying. It's not just about hitting hard, but about anticipating patterns and weaving in and out of danger flawlessly. The platforming is equally demanding, requiring precise timing and quick use of the new movement abilities you unlock, such as the Shadow of the Simurgh, which allows for instant teleportation to a saved point. Here's why its value is so high. The game introduces essential accessibility and quality of life features that should be industry standards, like the memory shard system. This allows you to take an in-game screenshot of a spot on the map you can't yet reach, visually marking it for later backtracking. This smart design choice eliminates the frustration of taking external notes and lets you focus on the pure, unadulterated joy of fluid movement and complex exploration. The Lost Crown is a dynamic, high-energy experience that successfully merges modern design philosophy with the core exploration loop of a classic Metroidvania. If you like your Metroidvanias with a unique character, a strong dose of diesel punk aesthetic, and a massive mechanical punch, Forged in Shadow Torch is an excellent choice. This game stands out immediately due to its protagonist, Rayton, an anthropomorphic rabbit wielding a massive, articulated mechanical fist. Set in a dystopian world where the oppressed animal residents are fighting back against the ruthless machine legion, the aesthetic is a vibrant and unique blend of gritty industrialism, neon-lit alleyways, and anthropomorphic design that gives the game a genuinely memorable visual identity. The combat is heavily focused on weighty impact and satisfying physical contact. Rayton's mechanical fist is not just a primary weapon, it's a set of upgradable tools that dramatically changes both combat and traversal. You start with the heavy, powerful fist, but eventually unlock the quick combo-focused drill and the far-reaching whip, each with its own extensive skill tree and unique utility for both fighting and complex platforming sequences. The weight and thud of the attacks are incredibly satisfying, making every hit feel consequential against the heavily armored robots you fight. Mastering the seamless transition between these three distinct weapons is key. And here's a cool element that adds great value. The level design is complex, vertical, and sprawling, featuring hidden pathways and plenty of secrets tucked away in the intricate layers of the industrial city of Torch City. Rayton's movement abilities, tied to his mechanical upgrades, open up massive shortcuts and new areas, ensuring that revisiting old locations feels genuinely meaningful. Furthermore, the narrative, while linear, is engaging and adds depth to the character of Rayton and the world's underlying political struggle. Forged in Shadow Torch is a great example of a Metroidvania that successfully builds an identity around its protagonist and core mechanics, offering a visually distinct and mechanically robust experience. Do you enjoy the uncompromising challenge and grim, pervasive atmosphere of Blasphemous, but with a touch more fast-paced, fluid, and dark combat? Then you absolutely need to look at Moonscars. You play as Grey Irma, a Clayborn warrior searching for the truth behind her desolate existence in a permanently dark, rain-slicked world where the ever-present moon controls everything. The game's aesthetic is built around a striking, highly detailed pixel art style, primarily using deep blacks, grays, whites, and terrifying splashes of visceral red to emphasize the brutal, high-stakes action. The combat is defined by high mobility, quick reflexes, and the demanding Ichor system, which acts as both your mana for powerful special attacks called Witches and your extremely limited health healing resource. This creates an intense risk-reward loop during every encounter. Do you use your limited Ichor to heal in a desperate pinch, or do you unleash a devastating spell to end the fight quickly? It's a demanding system that rewards aggressive resource management and precise execution, punishing complacency. And here's where the challenge and the replay value spike. When you die, you leave behind a weaker, shadowy doppelgangers of yourself, and the entire world enters a harsher Crimson Moon state, significantly increasing enemy difficulty until you reclaim your essence. This mechanism ensures that every death is a meaningful consequence, forcing adaptation and keeping the tension impossibly high. Furthermore, the game's arsenal includes multiple unique weapon types and powerful collectible spells that allow for deep build specialization. Moonscars is a difficult, beautiful, and deeply rewarding game for players who crave a dark, demanding action experience. What if the exploration of a Metroidvania was blended with the relentless, unpredictable pressure of a horde survival game? That's the unique hook of Sundered. You play as F.I.S.T, trapped in a terrifying, cavernous, and partially procedurally generated world where ancient, Lovecraftian evil lurks. The hand-drawn aesthetic is gorgeous, often featuring massive, terrifying elder gods looming in the background, reinforcing the game's pervasive sense of Lovecraftian dread and scale. The animation style is fluid and dynamic, making F.I.S.T's quick movements feel incredibly satisfying as she navigates the shifting abyss. The core map progression is Metroidvania standard, unlocking abilities like the double jump or a phase dash to reach new areas, but the combat is anything but standard. While key zones and boss arenas are hand-designed, large sections of the world feature procedurally generated enemy hordes that appear unexpectedly, announced only by a terrifying sound cue. This forces you into frantic, chaotic, large-scale battles where you are constantly surrounded. This unpredictable element keeps the tension high and requires you to master your unlocked abilities and powerful Elder Shard moves to survive the onslaught. Here's the crucial moral choice that adds tremendous replay value throughout the game. You find corrupted Elder Shards that offer monumental ability upgrades, permanently boosting your stats and combat efficiency. However, embracing and using them pushes F.I.S.T closer to madness, changing her appearance and the ultimate outcome of the story. You must choose whether to embrace the corruption for greater power or resist it and face a harder challenge for a different, potentially purer ending. Sundered is a fantastic, high-value experience that offers a fresh, chaotic take on combat within a beautiful, sprawling, and morally complex Metroidvania structure. If you enjoy a game that expertly combines the weight and deliberate challenge of a Souls-like with classic Metroidvania exploration and a sprawling map, Death's Gambit, Afterlife is a truly deserving entry. This definitive edition of the original game massively expands the world, adds 10 new bosses, completely overhauls the movement and combat, and introduces new classes, creating an incredibly dense and rewarding experience. You play as Sauron, an agent of death traversing the unforgiving Gothic world of Suradon, a kingdom obsessed with immortality. The combat is centered around class-based progression and deliberate action. You choose an initial class like a soldier, wizard, or the unique Blood Knight, and the deep, branching skill tree allows you to heavily customize your build through talents and stat allocation. The fighting is intentional and stamina-dependent, forcing you to commit to attacks and manage your resources wisely, making the parry system a necessity. The platforming is made dynamic and precise by the essential addition of the Feather ability, which allows you to glide and execute an air dash, adding a necessary layer of verticality and precision to the exploration that was missing in earlier iterations. The world design features huge, interconnected areas from towering castles and sun-drenched beaches to ancient ruins, meticulously hiding secrets and demanding careful mapping. A standout feature that adds moral depth is the way death is handled. Instead of simply retrieving your currency, you can choose to destroy your feather at a rest point to permanently upgrade your healing item, creating an interesting risk-reward mechanic related to recovery and future traversal. Afterlife is a testament to developer commitment, transforming a good foundation into a brilliant, essential Metroidvania that offers deep RPG mechanics alongside its excellent exploration. Do you ever crave that specific mix of gothic dread, cosmic horror, and satisfying brutal combat? The Last Faith doesn't shy away from its influences. It's a full-throttle, gorgeous embrace of the punishing difficulty and dark aesthetic seen in games like Blasphemous and the darker entries of Castlevania. You play as Eric, a man afflicted by a curse who is caught in a nightmarish cycle of suffering, exploring a land shrouded in darkness and religious dread. The visual style is immediately striking, utilizing gorgeous, detailed pixel art and atmospheric lighting to create a palpable sense of decay and terror. The combat is fast, visceral, and incredibly versatile, giving the player a massive arsenal to work with. Eric can wield a mix of heavy, devastating melee weapons, swords, axes, and massive hammers, and a wide range of powerful firearms, from rapid-fire handguns to room-clearing shotguns. This unique combination of up-close, aggressive melee fighting and mid- to long-range firepower adds a layer of tactical choice that few Metroidvanias offer. Do you risk getting close for the heavy, satisfying damage, or rely on a quick shot from your firearm to interrupt a dangerous enemy's windup? Mastery of both systems is necessary to survive the punishing boss fights. And here's why the exploration is engaging. The world is not just large, it's dense with secrets, optional bosses, and hidden paths that reward constant scrutiny and backtracking with new movement abilities. The game offers a complex system of spells and elemental effects that can be used strategically, often exploiting enemy weaknesses or unlocking environmental puzzles. Furthermore, the progression system is deep, allowing players to invest in stats that favor dexterity, strength, or arcane power, ensuring a high degree of build customization. The Last Faith is a triumphant love letter to the dark side of the genre, offering a high-octane blend of gruesome atmosphere and deeply satisfying customizable combat that provides excellent value for players seeking a true challenge. Ready for a Metroidvania that completely rethinks the genre's aesthetic and core loop? Ultros is a genuinely psychedelic, mind-bending experience set aboard a gargantuan, enigmatic structure known as the Sarcophagus, and intricate celestial space uteruses where you are stuck in an endless time loop. The art direction is truly breathtaking, utilizing vibrant, contrasting colors and a fluid, organic visual style that makes every screen look like a beautiful, abstract painting. It's a visually arresting game that constantly surprises the eye and reinforces its themes of growth and biological cycles. The combat is focused on combo mastery and non-lethal efficiency. Instead of simply hacking and slashing, the game heavily encourages you to chain together long, stylish combos on enemies without repeating attacks. Why? Because the better and more varied your combo, the better the loot you get, which isn't traditional gear but seeds and biological components used in the game's innovative gardening system. This mechanic is the core loop of the game. Combat feeds cultivation, which feeds exploration. It forces players to learn enemy weaknesses and attack patterns to maximize their harvest. And this is where the genius of the genre blend lies. You must strategically plant and cultivate flora throughout the map. As you progress and the time loop resets, the plants you nurtured grow into massive physical platforms or protective barriers, literally changing the environment and unlocking new paths for your next run. Ultros is not just about gaining a new double jump or dash, it's about actively reshaping the world's geography using biology, creating permanent changes that persist across loops. It's a challenging, philosophical, and utterly unique Metroidvania that demands full engagement with its inventive mechanics. While debated by purists, Dead Cells sits firmly on this list because it's the ultimate evolution of the genre, expertly fusing Metroidvania progression with roguelite replayability. You start every run fresh, facing a randomly generated prison, but the key is the permanent Metroidvania style unlocks new weapons, permanent stat upgrades, and crucial runic abilities that persist between deaths. These runes, like the Vine Rune or the Teleportation Rune, are what allow you to reach entirely new sections of the ever-changing map in subsequent attempts, linking the random levels with permanent progression. The speed and fluidity of the combat are second to none. It's an absolute masterclass in 2D action. It's an incredibly fast-paced experience, where dodging, parrying, and chaining together skills and traps are essential for survival. Every run offers a massive randomized selection of weapons, traps, and skills, ensuring that no two attempts feel the same. The mastery comes not from memorizing a static map, but from mastering the frantic mechanics and adapting your playstyle to whatever gear the game throws at you, whether you're running a tactics-based trap build or a brute force brutality build. This high level of tactical variety gives it an almost endless value proposition. You know that feeling of finally seeing the true ending after dozens of hours in a massive game? The true progression here is tied to boss cells, which are unlocked by defeating the final boss. Each cell drastically increases the difficulty, adds new enemies, and unlocks new paths and content, pushing you to the absolute limits of your skill. This escalating difficulty model guarantees immense replayability and longevity, ensuring that even veteran players are constantly challenged. Dead Cells is a furious, addictive, and brilliant hybrid that constantly rewards skill and commitment, making it arguably the highest value for money's game on this entire list due to its near-infinite content loop. So there you have it, 19 essential Metroidvania titles that transcend simple entertainment and offer true value for your time and investment. Whether you crave the sublime exploration of Hollow Knight, the rhythmic, adrenaline-pumping combat of Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown, or the sheer, endless, and often brutal replayability of the roguelite champion Dead Cells, this list is your definitive guide to the best the genre has to offer. I want to know which one gave you the biggest return on your investment. Or which title you think defines the genre best? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown of true Metroidvania classics, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button, and check out the next video on your screen right now.